Hey everybody, happy Monday evening, June 26, 2023. Here's a look at the summer heat that's going to have many areas sizzling and baking in this forecast for America. That is going to be exactly what I'm covering here at One Nation Weather. First of all, your Monday evening hazards map looks like this. You can see from portions of New York on down to the Carolinas, we have that severe thunderstorm watch, mainly for damaging winds, as well as some of that hail as these storms push from west to east. That cold front will be still impacting parts of the pattern, especially in the northeast the next few days, as well as the Gulf Coast. But along the Gulf Coast and into portions of Texas and New Mexico as well, we have these orange boxes for heat advisories, deep magenta colors for those excessive heat warnings. And while the severe thunderstorm watch in the northeast and the mid-Atlantic as well as the Carolinas may not be long-term, this zone will have long-term heat, which is why we definitely need to be watching out for some spots to see triple-digit numbers just with the regular temperature. When you factor in dew points in the 60s and 70s, we'll see some of those readings get 110 plus as to what it feels like on your skin. Now, the severe weather risk for Tuesday looks to be out of Kansas and Oklahoma, moving on off to the east from there. We'll keep an eye on that as a trough makes its way through the area, really getting many portions of the central and northern plains wet. We'll also, again, have that low-pressure system swirling in the northeast and mid-Atlantic, keeping those areas somewhat showery in those zones as well. And then right along the Gulf Coast, we'll have some of these storms developing in the afternoon. Those look to stay in general sub-severe. We could see some severe weather in the mid-Atlantic. A level 1 risk of that for your Tuesday, primarily for those gusty winds, where we could see gusty winds to 70 to 80 miles per hour, as well as that hail 2 to 3 inches in diameter. That's what these isolated storms that are going to get going into portions of southern Kansas, the panhandle and northeastern portions of Oklahoma, and then on over into Arkansas and southern Missouri. Those are the zones where we're going to watch out for those storms to really get going. But notice how this looks to be one group of storms, but still one cluster is all it takes for areas to have very damaging winds, trees blowing down on houses, dents in the roof and cars from hail, all that kind of stuff. So we need to keep an eye on this. 10 p.m. Central. These might approach Tulsa as we go towards the midnight time frame, Tuesday night going into Wednesday morning. Notice they look to deteriorate in terms of their strength, which means great weather for people further off to the east. They'll be appreciating that these storms will be weakening, but still a damaging wind potential, especially into Missouri and Arkansas as the night caps on off. Now, the temperatures supporting this Tuesday afternoon will make their way well into the 100-degree range into portions of Texas. Right along that zone where the storms will be, we'll see those readings well into the 90s for sure, which will be plenty enough for those storms to be supported. Now, we'll have a chain of an area from portions of Mississippi all the way on up into Minnesota. And we're going to kind of have a trough moving through as we go into our Wednesday. Into Iowa, that could produce some isolated severe weather. Back into portions of the Mountain West and the Dakotas, we at least have a chance for some rain on your Wednesday as well, with some more of those showers wrapping back around in the Northeast. Look at the highs Wednesday afternoon. We've got, yes, 80s into portions of the Pacific Northwest, but the heat's going to be especially intense here in the Mid-South. 100-degree readings making their way far north into portions of Kansas. And eventually, as we go into Thursday, we'll see that expand even into portions of Missouri and Illinois. Look at this. There's that severe weather risk, that level 1 risk as we go into Wednesday into portions of Iowa and Minnesota especially. Dew points well into the 70s in the late week time frame, supporting, yes, those pop-up storms, but also that heat just with temperatures already in the 90s to near 100. We do not need these dew points in the 70s to even near 80. All those dew points do, it's really just like a factor on your skin. The more dewy it is outside, when you sweat, it's just not going to be evaporating, making you feel even hotter. And with temperatures near 100, even into portions of Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, Illinois, Missouri, Kansas, all these zones, it is just going to be oppressive heat for us here. Temperatures in the 80s making their way all the way on up to the Canadian border. 90s as well, possible in portions of California, even into northern Oregon and into eastern Washington. We'll watch those zones. Now, with that area of interest making its way through Thursday evening, we'll watch a level 2 risk, according to me, 2 out of 4, a medium certainty for some severe weather, especially making its way out of northeast Colorado into portions of Nebraska and Kansas. We'll also have that trough pushing further eastward on Thursday, could spark off a few severe storms from the Great Lakes down to the southeast zones. Your Friday afternoon temperatures look like this. More temperatures reading near 100 degrees. And then here we go, more storms sparking off Friday afternoon, moving from northwest to southeast into portions of the plains. They'll make their way on over towards the Midwest as we go into our Friday. Saturday, look at this. The heat expands even further eastward, so we'll see some 90s in the southeast. 100-degree readings continuing. Notice it backs off in Texas a little bit as it looks right now, with more just kind of more widespread, slightly less intense heat. I say that, but still 101. That is intense. Paducah, Kentucky getting in on that. severe certainty Saturday. As storms wrap around the high-pressure ridge that's going to be in the mid-south, we could see some of those go into the Carolinas, mid-Atlantic, northeast, as well as back through portions of the western plains. Again, storm tracks are going to be like this, making their way out of the subtropical jet stream into portions of Arizona, making their way through the central tier, and then off the east coast as they travel over this high-pressure ridge into portions of Texas, Louisiana, and under the big one that's going to be in Canada. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and here are the credits. Thank you so much, everybody.